All right, cool. So I've already gone through the harmonic scanner. Didn't necessarily see anything that I'm crazy about, so we're gonna go ahead and keep it pushing without it. DeLorean has not called out anything. The next possible, excuse me, next possible opportunity is going to be in about 3 minutes. So we'll just go ahead and dive into the chart. Get rid of that. Okay, so what we're able to talk about is, I'll just go ahead and break it down. So the first thing we'll talk about is the CAD JPY trade that we're already in, still holding. So this trade ended up going for about 87, 88 pips. It's currently up about 40 plus pips. First target is down here, so we are at break even. I'm gonna just go ahead and put that. So we are at break even, just so I know. This will too, put that in parentheses, break. So we are in a break even scenario, so can't lose any money at this point. So we'll go ahead and go over CAD JPY. I've already broken this down a couple times, but since we're still in the setup, I'll just make it brief. No, I'm not gonna go back over this. I've already broken the setup down like 3 times. If y'all want to be able to see it, just go check out the videos on the YouTube channel, because yeah, I've already broken this down a few times. So because I want to be able to talk about some fresh things tonight. So basically, CAD JPY, we're still looking for a potential of overall 300 plus pip move. We are in break even, so as of right now, I'm just waiting to see if it's going to continue dropping, or if maybe it comes back and hits our break even. At this point, I'm just gonna let it rock out. So that's CAD JPY. AUD USD, we'll come back and look at this. So I don't know if y'all remember, but I had told you guys about this AUD USD re-entry opportunity, which was right here. As you guys see, it did react and came pretty close to my original first take profit based off of this entry. So I got in, and honestly, whenever it came down here, I adjusted my stop loss to break even. So as far as the re-entry goes, I'm no longer in it. It basically took me out like up in here. So I'm still holding my original position from up here. So obviously at this point, the market's either gonna, push higher and hit my break even, or maybe it'll keep dropping. But either way, I already took my partial profits here. So I already paid myself. The re-entry didn't quite get me to take profit, hit me back out at break even. So was a successful trade, but at this point we're just holding it to see if it continues to push further in our direction, or if it's about to be over. So 2 profitable trade ideas, both of which I'm still just holding to see if they keep going in our direction. So we'll go ahead and move forward with it is a Friday, obviously. So Fridays are hit or miss. Something could happen, something could not happen. So I'm gonna just go over, like for instance, this Euro GBP trade. I'd rather break this down because this has a good possibility to happen tonight. DeLorean just called out something. Let's see. Euro CAD. Don't look bad. When was this called out? This must, yeah, this was called out before the session started. Euro CAD. Let me go check out Euro CAD real quick. Euro CAD. I ain't crazy about it. It definitely could drop, but it's a lot of consolidation right now, so I'd probably leave this alone. I would have rather take like this one, because I actually like, one thing I like with DeLorean is I actually wanted to hit the aqua. Even though it's close to the aqua, my experience is I would just rather be actually touching the aqua. So since it's not touching it by default, I just rather leave this alone. I would have rather take something like this, but this would have happened. Yeah, this would have happened before the 1 a.m. marker. So all right, so back to what we was talking about. Go ahead and take this back off. All right, so let's go back here. So I said, So I got Euro GBP. Euro GBP is a possibility for tonight. We'll see. GJ is a possibility. GBP Chef is a possibility. We got quite a few. Gold. I have no idea if this is gonna happen tonight. Might just keep dropping. Let me see, because y'all know I don't like to talk about stuff if I'm not actually gonna call it out. So I'm trying to see what, I mean, GJ and G Chef probably have the best opportunities to activate tonight. Euro GBP could be a little bit of a long shot. I'm gonna just go ahead and set an alert. So yeah, I'm gonna just talk about GBP JPY and GBP Chef. Euro GBP, it still has some movement to do before I even call this out. So I'm gonna just set an alert. This will be for 83310. Let me set an alert for that. 83310. Look for buy limit. All right. Man, this thing be tripping sometimes. All right, cool. Definitely looks like it could happen. I just want to see it like just break past this area first, because I don't want to have to call it out and then delete it. So if anything, if this is something I send out later tonight, we'll just talk about it next week. But I'd rather focus on what looks more likely to activate, which are the 2 GBP setups. CAD CHF might have a good chance as well, so I might fit that in. Let me set an alert for this as well. What would be a good alert? Something like this. What's this? 72730. 72730. Look for sell limit. All right, bet. So, all right, let's go ahead and talk about GBP JPY, because like I said, I think both of these have a good chance to activate. As you say, I got the alert set, so I'm not going to send this out until it gets closer to the alert. Because as you can see, these have really just been consolidating extremely aggressively. So I'll wait on that. So yeah, I'll wait on these two, and then we'll just talk about, okay. So, all right, let's go ahead and talk about GBP JPY. Let me go ahead and pull up a different data feed real quick. All right, but I still got this marked up. Okay, cool. So GBP JPY, right? Let's see. All right, GBP JPY. So basically with GBP JPY, what I want to be able to show you guys is we're gonna start from the top and work our way down. So the same way that I break down every setup, you know, I got 4 primary confirmations that I look for, which are going to be the overall trend of the market, my directional bias, momentum weakness, and then divergence. So overall trend of the market, I really just pay attention to the 1 hour for the most part, as far as like when I'm analyzing. So if we're looking at the 1 hour, from what we can see, right, this looks like it definitely can be perceived as a downtrend, just based off the 1 hour structure. So if we look to the left, we can see that the market did violate this previous low over here, right? On top of that, the market did not break this high. So what this can be looked at as is a continuation. So if I were to take the fib from the high to the low, right, we can see that the market ended up retracing back into the 88.78.6 fib retracement zone, right? And you can kind of pull that over to the left and see this is, you know, a strong level of resistance, keeping in mind that the market has not come back to break this high. And since we broke this relative recent low, that's why I'm still looking at the perspective of a short. Okay. So from the higher time frame, right? Even though 1 hour is maybe not considered a higher time frame, but from a relative higher time frame, we are still in a bearish scenario from what I see. So that's going to be the overall trend as far as like what I'm concerned. The overall trend from what I can see is going to be bearish, right? So next thing I'm looking at is what I ended up noticing was in this area, the market ended up giving us a liquidity sweep, right? So if you notice right here, the market ended up taking out a high, okay? Whenever it took out the high, it gave us a very aggressive move in a complete opposite direction. A lot of times that's how you can verify, a proper liquidity sweep, right? We had these two highs right here that are relatively equal highs for the most part. The market came back, swept above this area, and then very aggressively, like I said, start moving to the downside, right? So whenever we see something like this happen, this is maybe a telltale sign that the market is telling us what direction it wants to start moving in. So obviously it was trending up very aggressively, right? And then the market came back, took out this high, and here we are currently, okay? So from understanding all that, right, my directional bias is going to be with the overall trend. There are instances where I trade against the trend, but in this specific example, I'm going to be trading with the trend, which is bearish, okay? So from all those things that I'm noticing, what I'm really going to start focusing in on is the area that had the sweep, okay? So this is the area that basically, took those relative highs, right? So what I'm noticing is if you look at it, the market ended up giving an impulsive move, right? A retracement where back into this zone, okay? And then we got that very aggressive fall off, right? That very aggressive fall off. So we already got the market, to come back and mitigate the area that actually swept the liquidity, which is something that we like to see. We also did get, a break of structure, just depending on where you're looking. Any of these areas, it could be here, it could be here, right? So we did actually get a nice clean break of structure as well. And one of the most important things is the market left a footprint in the form of an imbalance, okay? Left a footprint in the form of an imbalance, right? So if I now erase all these things, this is going to be the main point of emphasis that we want to be able to focus on, right? So we got liquidity sweep, we got a break of structure. The market mitigated off the area that swept the liquidity. And now we have the footprint in the form of an imbalance, okay? And if you notice, the market has built up more liquidity, like right here, okay? Like this area where all these wicks are, this is built up liquidity, okay? So something that could possibly happen, which will make sense, is that the market could come up, sweep these highs, dip into the imbalance, right? Give us a fill, and then start moving in our direction, okay? So one thing that I learned is whenever the market gives a strong impulsive move, but it takes a long time to get back up, all this choppiness, this can be a telltale sign that we're going to get what we want whenever the market gets in here. Okay. This aggressive drop happened pretty quickly. The correction is happening very slowly. So whenever you have a strong impulsive move and a very choppy correction, a lot of times that is going to be like an identifier that you're looking to take the trade in the correct direction. Obviously, it depends on where you're looking to enter and things like that. So we already identified we want to be able to enter. That is hideous. We want to be able to enter somewhere in this imbalance, okay? So from this imbalance, y'all know that I like to be able to look for buy limits and sell limits. I don't really do a whole lot of market execution unless I'm seeing something late. So what I would be doing is I would now be looking to find an entry, okay? Now, the way I look for entries is a little bit different than other people, but it works for me. So what I like to do is I don't enter off of imbalances, okay? I don't enter off of imbalances. I don't enter off of imbalances. I'll use an imbalance as like a target or a take profit or something like that. I don't like to enter off of them because in my opinion, it's it's tricky, I guess I can say. Like the positioning of the entry can either be the opening, the 50%, the close. The stop loss can be a little sketchy because the stop loss is not always going above like a strong high or low. It's kind of like it could be a little iffy. So I like to be able to trade off of engulfing candles only. Okay. So what I usually do is within the imbalance, right? Well, on a higher time frame, it should be some sort of institutional or engulfing candle. So since we're on the 1 hour, I'm going to start working my way up, right? Still got imbalance, no engulfing candle. I'm going to go again, right? 3 hours. So if we look at a 3 hour, we've now found our first engulfing / institutional candle. So this is something I would rather trade off of than the imbalance. So what I want to do is I want to find the biggest candle on the highest time frame. So I'm going to keep working my way up, right? Now notice how I drew this box on the 3 hour. So if you notice how this 4 hour is bigger than the box, that means that this is a bigger candle. So I'm just gonna make the box fit. Because like I said, I want the biggest candle on the highest time frame. Go to the 5, that's smaller. Go to the 6. 6 is also a little bit bigger, right? Go to the 7, go to the 8, go to the 9, right? So the 9 hour is actually going to be our biggest candle. So if you guys can see, you literally see how I work my way up to find the biggest candle on the highest time frame, okay? So notice how the market has already reacted up in here. Okay, the market has already reacted, but it hasn't like taken off yet, right? It's not like the market hit this and then gave us a big drop, because at that point, whenever it came back, I probably wouldn't still be looking at the zone the same way, because once the market touches a candle, moves away, it doesn't have to react off of it when it comes back. It could just break through it. So even though it rejected, it hasn't gone anywhere yet. So how I'm looking at it is, obviously on this 1 hour, you still have a lot of imbalance that has not been filled yet. And this market could easily just be forming, additional liquidity that it wants to sweep before it drops. So the way that I look for an entry, right, it's pretty straightforward for me. So I usually show you guys the same technique that I use. So I start off by getting a 50% of this candle, because I want to be able to see where the 50% is. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So we got the 50%. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out the regular fib, take it from the high to the low, like so. I didn't mean to do that. And voila. So the way that I usually enter is I like to be able to use the fib levels, okay? So I usually tell y'all I draw an entry zone, which is going to be from the 50% to the opening of the candle. And I would like to enter somewhere in this zone. So the way that I get an exact entry is I utilize my fib levels. So you got the 78.6. You also got the 71%. Now, if y'all know me, y'all know that obviously I have a maximum stop loss that I'm willing to use, which is going to be 40 pips. Okay. 40 pips is the max stop loss that I feel comfortable using. Let's see if they got any DeLoreans worth looking at real quick. Let's see. EuroCAD just through a 30-minute. That don't look half bad. What's this? 30-minute on GBP CAD. So EuroCAD and GBP CAD. Let's check those out real quick. EuroCAD and GBP CAD 30-minute. What a way that's pushing up. We definitely not finna take that. Oh yeah, it's over for this one. Ain't no reason to even look at that. So that's done for. EuroCAD. EuroCAD's already gone, so it don't even matter. All right, so back to what we was talking about. All right, GJ. So what was I saying? So basically, like I said, I like to be able to use a stop loss no bigger than a 40 pip SL. Okay. So the way that I usually look for an entry is I want to be able to identify one of these fib levels that is within my entry zone. So notice we got two different fib levels. We got the 71 and the 78. Normally I go with the more aggressive entry because I care more about being in the trade than having like a cute entry with a super tight stop loss, right? Because you can get too cute and then just miss the whole setup. You can miss the setup by a pip, 2 pips, 5 pips. Really don't matter. Whatever you miss it by, you miss the whole setup. So I know if my max stop loss is 40 pips, obviously if I were to look to enter from here, that would be a no-go. So you want to know what I would do then? I would then move my entry up to the next fib level and then see where that puts me. So I could then move this up. It's like, well, damn, that's still an 85 pip stop loss, right? So then what I would do is I move it to the 50%. Okay. 50% is usually like the furthest I would like to go, except in situations like this. So this is how I usually finesse my entries in a situation like this. So normally I want to enter between the opening and the 50%. But this is a situation to where the stop loss does not allow me to do so. So literally all I would do is I would move my entry up until I get a 40 pip stop loss. Now on this data feed, like the numbers are drastically different because my entry is not all the way up here. But this is like the concept of what I'm explaining. So I'll show y'all my entry on the actual chart. Owanda, for whatever reason, these numbers are like completely different than FXCM. So if I actually go back to the chart, this is where my entry is. So for whatever reason, their entry was like all the way up here, but because I put my stop loss up here. I was tripping. I meant to put it right here. But y'all get the gist of it. So the concept of it is I'm moving my stop loss until I can get a 40 pip stop loss. So the entries that I was technically looking for, so like if I put the fib back on here, the entries that I would have been looking for initially would have been here at the 71 and here at the 78. Also, if I go put the 50% back on there, you guys will see like so, right? So I had to put my entry higher than the area that I normally entered to make it to where the trade was still within my max stop loss. So like I said, normally I want to enter somewhere between the 50 and the opening. The stop loss did not allow me to do so. So I had to move my entry up until it gave me a 40 pip stop loss. Okay. So that's like one of the ways that I can finesse my entries and things like that. But like I said, this is something I'm looking for short. This would basically be almost a mirror image to CAD JPY. As you guys can see, the reaction we got on CAD JPY. I'm really looking for the same thing on GBP JPY. So I'm looking to have basically the same opportunity on GJ. And I've been waiting for it all week. So I just don't want to have to call it out to say delete it again. I've already done that like twice this week, 2 or 3 times this week. So that's why I set this level right here. Hopefully it doesn't just blast past the level and hit the entry. Usually it doesn't move that fast unless it's like news or something, which as we're talking about the, since it is Friday, let's see if we got any news I need to be looking out for. So GBP news has already passed. We got Canadian news at basically New York Open. And yeah, none of this other stuff is really that important. So it is FOMC. I'm not actually trading like any USD pairs as far as like things that I have marked up. So I'm not really too concerned about that. So it should be good. Should be good. All right. So that's GBP JPY. You guys can see I already have basically everything marked up. So at this point, really just waiting for it to just go in our favor. What's this first TP? Like a 3-to-1. Yeah, I'm really just waiting on this to activate. So like I said, this will be something to where I'm not going to send this out now. I'm obviously stay up, and as it gets closer, I'll send it out. But as of right now, I'm not going to do that. Similar thing for GBP Chef. So if you guys are noticing, we got 2 GBP pairs that we're actually looking for selling opportunities on. I just hope something happens tonight because all these are just consolidating. So let's go over GBP Chef, and this will pretty much be the last thing that we speak on tonight. Because like I said, I don't like talking about too many setups unless we're actually like taking them. Outside of that, it's kind of like a waste of time to break something down if I'm not even gonna call it out. All right, so GBP Chef, right? We're gonna do a similar concept on GBP Chef. So first thing I'm gonna do is obviously identify the overall trend of the market, which as we can see is obviously a downtrend. So if we're looking at the market, we have impulsive move, correction, impulsive move. And after this impulsive move, what we notice is this downtrend may now be an uptrend. Why do I say that? So notice how the market came back, broke this high, okay? And then after it broke the high, it gave us a deep retracement, and it looks like it's moving back up. But it did not take back out this high. So as of right now, we're pretty much looking at this range, okay? So this is the range that we're currently trading in, from this high to this low. Yes, it could be a short-term buy just because the market did break this strong level of previous structure, but it is still technically overall bearish. As you can see, the market has been dropping for quite some time. This could just be a temporary buy. So within this range, I'm understanding that the market could, if it's going to go higher, it could possibly be looking to, come back like somewhere in this area before it goes higher. So like if I were to pull out the fib from the low to the high, right, for the market to continue, it would make sense that we possibly get some type of retracement, back into the fib, the deeper levels of the fib before it continues to go higher, if that's what it's actually going to do. So all I'm looking at is I'm looking to take advantage of an opportunity to sell. I'm not looking to sell to buy. I'm just looking for an opportunity to sell it, knowing, yeah, it could still be bullish, but I could be taking advantage of the retracement for it to continue being bullish. So as I say that, we're fixating on this area over here, okay? So what I'm looking at is, once again, notice how this high did not get taken out. So I could actually pull out my fib, right, from the high to the low and see how deep of a retracement we got. So we ended up actually getting a retracement to the deepest level of the fib, which is going to be the 88%. The 88%, if you can look closely, also falls in line with, there's probably some sort of, yeah, so we have like a institutional candle over here. So we also had imbalance over here. So we can see that the market did actually react. Yeah, so we got all this right here. So we can say that the market did actually react off of a valid level, on top of giving us the deepest level of retracement to the 88.6 fib. So all of these are reasons why I'm looking for a sell, okay? So on top of that, if we go back to the 1 hour, what we're going to notice is, similar to the GBP JPY setup, the market left us a footprint up here in the form of an imbalance, right? So if we go back and look at GBP JPY, you see this imbalance up here. It's not identical, but it's pretty similar, okay? On top of that, we pretty much got, basically what you want to see in the market. I'm gonna give you guys an example. So this is kind of like something that you want to see, right? Say the market gives you equal highs, right? It comes up, takes that out, breaks your structure, gives you a retracement, and then continues, right? This model that I'm showing you guys is something that you're going to get used to. So if I were to take this trend line, draw it up here like this, right? Put some dollar signs above it like that, okay? What you're currently looking at is the sell model that, would change your financial future. So a lot of times what we're looking for is buildup of liquidity. That liquidity gets swept. Okay, obviously this is a sell. If it was a buy, it would be the opposite direction, right? You want the liquidity to be swept. Once it gets swept, to confirm it, you want to see a very aggressive move that happens quickly in the opposite direction, which will in turn break some previous level of structure, right? BOS, break some previous level of structure, all right? Give you some sort of retracement, okay? Give you some sort of retracement to then give you the continuation. All right. So what I would recommend is y'all probably get like a picture or a screenshot of this, because like I said, this is really like what it looks like. This is what I'm about to go back up and show y'all pretty much on GBP Chef. Obviously, every setup is not going to be textbook, but what I'm showing you is pretty standard to a setup that you're going to see time and time and time and time and time again. All right. So if I now go back to the chart, it'll be a little bit easier for y'all to see it. So like I'll go to a smaller time frame so you guys can see this a little bit better. So the concept of what I'm saying is notice what I just broke down. So if you guys look at this right here, right? Look at this area right here. You see these two wicks that are basically equal, damn near, right? See how both of these are damn near equal? What does that look like? Okay, that looks like, it's a little crazy looking because I did on a lower time frame, right? That would be this. That would symbolize this right here. I'm literally going to show y'all each step. So these two highs that have the liquidity that the market went right above, that's going to be represented by this right here. Okay, by this right here. Obviously, you have this high over here, but this is more so what we're looking at. Okay, now notice the market gave you that sharp move that swept above the highs, which is the same thing that we see here. Okay, the sharp move that swept above the highs. What's the next thing we want to look for? An aggressive move to the downside that broke structure. What do we see? An aggressive move to the downside. It depends on where you're looking for. This could have been structure. This can be structure. It's relative to which area you're defining as a structure. It'll probably more so be this one because this was a part of the move that took it out. So I would more so say that this is the break of structure. This is a lower level, so that's why I was focusing on this, but this could be the break of structure as well too. So I'll label that BOS, right? Okay. So now the last thing we're waiting for is what? The retracement, right? Back into that level and then get the continuation. So this would be the retracement back into that level to then get the continuation. So we want to see it come back up here and then give us this. Let me get y'all to drop a 2 in the chat if y'all are understanding so far. Let me get y'all to drop a 2 in the chat if y'all are understanding so far. Just make sure y'all still awake. Let me get y'all to drop some 2s in the chat. Pretty please. All right, bet. Cool. So now that y'all are understanding, let's go over how I found my entry. Similar to the last example that I showed y'all how I found my entry, right? So let me erase this. Oh, I bet. Get rid of all this crap. I really could get rid of this later, but I'm gonna just do it. I bet. So next thing is going to be looking for an entry. So obviously, as you guys can see, if y'all haven't noticed, I put the time frame on the entry so I know what candle I entered off of. So I'm not even going to sit here and flip through all the, nah, I am, so y'all can see the example what I'm talking about. So like I said, I want to find the biggest candle on the highest time frame. So this would be the 1 hour right here, right? Gonna go to the 2, no candle there, gonna go to the 3, That's a pretty big candle. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that up. That's a 3. Gonna go to the 4. I'll just skip to the 9. So the 9-hour ended up being the biggest candle by far. Okay. Biggest candle by far. Okay. So once again, whenever I find the biggest candle on the highest time frame, I'm gonna start off by doing the same steps. All right. Actually, before I go any further, let me see if I had yep, my bad. I skipped a step. I skipped a couple steps because I'm just moving kind of fast. So another thing that I like to be able to talk about that I didn't actually talk about on GBP JPY because I didn't actually have that as an example, but I have it on GBP Chef, is going to be divergence. So if y'all get on my calls enough, y'all know divergence is Bay. Okay. It's my girlfriend. She doesn't know it, but she definitely is. Okay. So divergence is going to be whenever you have the market going in one direction, and if you're taking advantage of an indicator, the indicator is going to be going in the opposite direction. So if y'all notice, I put the chart on a line chart just so it makes it easier to be able to see what I'm about to show you guys. So divergence is pretty straightforward. Obviously, like anything else, you got to train your eyes to see it. It's whenever you have the market going in one direction. So obviously from here to here, the market is going up. I can identify that by taking a vertical line and tracing it right here where you guys can obviously see. And obviously on the RSI, the market is going down. That's going to be divergence, ladies and gentlemen, just like that. So the market is going up. The indicator is going down. That is divergence. On top of that, I always tell y'all a good way to be able to confirm divergence is if you get a very aggressive move immediately following, and a lot of times you should get some type of break of structure, which is what you guys are witnessing. So on top of that, we already got like the liquidity sweep that I just showed y'all and all that other stuff. So this is just an additional confirmation. Okay. That's just an additional confirmation. But y'all know from experience, whenever we get divergence, it's usually a pretty good thing, right? It's usually a pretty good thing. So I'm not guaranteeing nothing. I'm not saying over leverage. I ain't saying none of that because divergence does not guarantee a win. Okay. But I'm just saying a good amount of times that we have divergence, a lot of these plays usually go in our favor. So just throwing that out there, right? Whether or not this happens tonight or it doesn't happen until next week, I don't know. But obviously if I were to pick one over the other, I like GBP Chef more than GBP JPY just because GBP Chef actually has divergence, but I like GBP JPY regardless. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me look at gold. I don't know if gold is gonna happen tonight either, so I really don't feel like explaining that. Maybe it does. Gold looks pretty good though. If you guys are noticing, I was initially gonna sell gold from here. Glad I didn't, because obviously it would have just kept going up. But the time of day that it got to this area didn't make sense, so that's why I didn't actually take the trade, and it benefited me. Which is why I tell you guys the time of day that you take a trade is just as important as the actual setup itself. The setup could look valid, but if you're taking it at the wrong time of day, it's not valid. Okay. So that was a prime example for this. The setup was valid, but the time of day was not. Obviously, the setup was not valid, but the time of day made me not take this and ended up saving me, which a lot of times that's the time of day is going to do. It's going to stop you from taking a setup that looks good because you know the time of day doesn't necessarily make sense. So as you guys see, we have a dumb amount of setups, but at this point, we just got to wait for them to actually do something. So basically, like I said, I literally already have GBP JPY like marked up. Let me go find it because I think one of these that I deleted recently is the same markup. Yeah, it's the same markup. So literally, I would literally just send the sell limit out again. So I would literally just forward this back into the chat, whatever happens, because this is the exact same markup that I had. Yeah, the exact same markup that I had from like a couple of days ago when I called it out and said deleted. So I'll just forward that. GBP Chef. Let me make sure I got that already done. Let's see. 260. 24690 237. Yep, I already got that one too. So look, because I sometimes keep these in my saved messages. So this right here, GBP Chef, I already got that one too. So I literally already have both of these plays already typed out. Like I said, I just don't want to send it until it gets here. Because think about it. It came close here, pull back. Came close here, pull back. Came close here, pull back. So it's just like, I actually want to see it break something before I call it out, because it could just pull back, and nobody wants to put in a trade to just have to delete it. That shit is hella annoying. So that's basically what I'm waiting for on both of these setups. I'm waiting for them to break these highs, which is why I got these alerts set. And then as soon as it happens, obviously I'm gonna send out the sell limit, but it may be something to where as soon as I send out the sell limit, I might just have to say, just go ahead and sell it by market or some shit like that. But it's pretty much it. Appreciate all 60 y'all for rocking out on the call. I really don't have nothing else, like I said, because I'm really just waiting to see what's actually gonna activate. So I only want to talk about these two because these look like the two closest ones to activating. CAD CHF, it could activate tonight. Maybe it doesn't. Euro GBP, it could activate tonight. Maybe it doesn't. USD Chef is nowhere close. I might actually just not come back. USD CAD is obviously, if it does, it's definitely not going to happen this week. GBP CAD is nowhere in the near future. And gold, like I said, it could happen tonight. It might not though. So with that being said, it's pretty much it, guys. So it is Friday, like I said. Definitely make sure y'all trade safe in the markets tonight. Stay awake if you can. Hopefully within the next hour or so, or it's impossible for me to just randomly say. Hopefully tonight, one of these ideas will give me the opportunity to send them out. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. But outside of that, I appreciate y'all for hopping on as usual. This call will be uploaded to my YouTube channel later today. So definitely make sure y'all look out for that. And as usual, y'all don't do anything crazy in the market that I wouldn't do. Trade safe, trade smartly, don't over leverage, and see who wouldn't want to be you. Peace.